Hey guys, so tonight you're going to be learning about the different economic systems, which we've already talked about the last couple of days, but we're just going to go into a little bit more detail. So, economic systems, it describes how a country's economy is organized. Because of the problem of scarcity, every country needs a system to determine how to use its productive resources, and every economic system has to answer three basic questions. The first one is what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. We have four different types of economic systems. We have traditional, command, market, and a mixed economy, which is a mix of market and command. With traditional economy, the decisions are based on customs and belief. So people will make what they always have made, and will do the same work they'll do the same work that their parents did. They exchange goods through bartering, so it's trading without using money. So that would be like a good for good example, like from page 4. Those three questions for traditional economy, who decides to produce? It's the people, and they follow their customs and they make what their ancestors made. Who decides how to produce goods and services? It's the people. They grow and make things the same exact way that their ancestors did. And then for whom are the goods and services produced? And therefore the people in the village who are in need of those goods or services. So some examples of a traditional economy are villages in Africa and South America, and also even Inuit tribes in Canada. And Inuit is like very similar to Eskimo. It can be kind of used in exchange for. Command system is a government which makes all economic decisions and owns most of the property. So the government is going to decide what is produced, what is bought, how much is produced, how much is it going to cost. They're making all the decisions. So those three questions for a command economy: who decides? It's the government. Who decides how to produce those goods and services? Again, it's your government. And then for whom are the goods and services produced for? And it is whomever the government decides to give them to. Some examples of command systems, usually there are countries that have a communist government. So like Cuba and North Korea would be more relevant ones. And then Russia, when it was called the Soviet Union, was a command economy. And then Germany and Russia have moved away from having a command economy, and now they have a mixed economy, so that mix of market and command. Market economy, which is what we have. It's an economic system in which economic decisions are guided by the changes in prices that occur as individual buyers and sellers interact in the marketplace. It's also known, it's based on what people want and how much they're willing to pay for it. Most of the resources are owned by private citizens, and the decisions are based on free enterprise, which is the competition between each company. So those three questions for a market economy is who decides what to produce. It's businesses base their decisions on supply and demand and free enterprise, so your prices. Who decides how to produce the goods? Businesses decide how they produce their own goods, and consumers is for whom the goods and services are produced. Market economy, some examples are would be the U.S., because sometimes there are some regulations that the government uses to make the decision for some companies and whatnot. We don't have a true market economy, but we're as close to a market economy as it can be. And we also talked about how it's also called a capitalist economy. All right, last one. For mixed economy, it's a mix of market and command. So there's no pure command or market economies. To some degree, all modern economies exhibit characteristics of both systems and are often referred to as mixed economies. Most economies are closer to one type of economic system than the other. So even though we could also be called a mixed economy, we definitely would be on the more market side. Businesses own most resources and determine what and how to produce them, but the government regulates certain industries. So our 3 questions: who decides what to produce? It's still the businesses. Who decides how to produce goods and services? It's still the businesses, but the government can regulate certain ones. And then for whom are the goods and services produced? It's still the consumers. So some examples of a mixed economy is most democratic countries fall into this category. So for example, we have like Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and the UK. So thinking back through traditional, command, market, and mixed economy, on your sheet at the very end, in your own opinion, you are going to write which economic system you think is the best, and you're going to support your answers with evidence, and your evidence is going to come straight from your notes. So make sure you use the examples provided and the information to those questions provided, and also the description of each of the economic systems, so you can best support your answer. All right, can't wait to hear what you guys say tomorrow.